Good evening, friends. My name is Yulia Stadnichuk, and I welcome everybody on this evening stream of our Public Movement Politics 2.0 here on our English language YouTube channel. We have a separate channel for Russian language and a separate channel for English language streams. Let me congratulate all Orthodox Christians on Pascha. Christ has risen, and we've celebrated here in Russia, and we hope you've celebrated Pascha in your countries. Let me just remind you that we in our streams view all the situations, all the news and events and persons and politicians from the point of view of Politics 2.0 concept, which means that we regard citizens as active actors of political process, and this is what each person, each citizen is supposed to be doing, to be active in the political sphere, to be executing his power, his or her authority or power directly. We do not have any kind of specific access to closed information, to state secrets or top secrets, some documents. We just use the information published in media, in news, in live journal and somewhere else. And because Politics 2.0 as a public movement, as a scientific law concept, has grown up from the life book of Monk Athanasius, so we use Athenian principle of reasoning. We try to analyze information and apply the information to what we know, to our position, and then make our judgment and decide what we think, what is going on, and somehow see how the situation is going to be developing. And if you just have a look at our streams from back a year ago, when this COVID hoax just started, you will notice that we were pretty right about what is going on and where the situation was heading then. And now we are just in the situation which we, generally speaking, were ready for. So we've made some sort of pause in our English language stream, but now we're back here with our regular weekly reviews of the situation in Russia. And just let me tell you a couple of things about what has been going on in Russia since the end of April. One of the key persons active in the news is Alexei Navalny. And as you probably have heard, Vladimir Putin announced so-called non-working days. He has already done this before. It happened last year during this beginning of COVID lockdowns. Vladimir Putin also announced then this non-working days, which is anti-constitutional because we do not have this kind of term used in our law, in our constitution as the non-working days. We have holidays, we have state public holidays, we have working days, but we do not have non-working days. So it happened last year, and it also happened this year. And Putin announced these days from the 1st till 11th of May. So everything was supposed to be like locked down. But quite a lot of people kept on working, thank God. But we didn't get any information from Navalny. Just if you go back to our videos about Alexei Navalny, you will find out what we told, that actually what is happening with Alexei Navalny right now, him being presented all over the world as, you know, the kind of opposition and the person who is suffering a lot from Putin regime and so on, that actually he's enjoying such conditions in this VIP prison, which he's supposed to be at, that we not a single prisoner in Russia can enjoy such conditions. This is a specifically created prison for either criminals from law enforcement bodies who are supposed to be like serving their term in a specific condition, or for such VIP persons who enjoy really like individual service there. And what we've seen videos being like leaked from security cameras showing how really his life there is. All the information that his team is publishing, like that he's on hunger strike and he's like dying, he's suffering from some pain in his neck, spine, legs, arms, or something else, do not seem to be true according to the videos that we can find over the internet. So, and what actually happened? We know that Alexei Navalny has also been showing a kind of behavior. Um, he was he was like inclined to violate the regulations imposed by the court. Uh, why Alexei Navalny is in prison right now? Because he had a suspended sentence, which was supposed that he is supposed to follow some restrictions imposed by the court. He is not to leave the country. He was not to like do some kind of activities, and that was his punishment for a number of crimes that the courts had found him guilty of. And we know, and that's quite publicly well known, that Alexei Navalny was pretty much inclined to violate these court regulations, court restrictions, and he even managed to leave Russia to go abroad, having this being under this suspended sentence, a suspended sentence, which it's quite impossible for any other person in Russia. If you're under a suspended sentence, just ask anybody. You cannot go anywhere. You cannot do anything. And just in case you try to cross the border of the Russian Federation, the border service, which belongs to Federal Security Service right now, will immediately stop you and will immediately inform the prison system, and they will turn to court in order to change the suspended sentence into the real one, so that the person could go to prison, which hadn't been happening to Alexei Navalny before January 2021. So he was inclined to violate the court's restrictions, and actually the reason why he's in prison right now is because he violated this regime imposed by the court on him. He failed to undergo the check that he was supposed to undergo. He failed to inform the prison system of where he is. And thus the courts changed this suspended sentence into the real one, and thus he went to court, to the prison. But considering all what we know about Alexei Navalny, considering the fact that he enjoys such support from Russian oligarchs, from foreign politicians, like from Angela Merkel, who visited him personally in Germany, from Emmanuel Macron, from the American administration, who even call Vladimir Putin to say that they want Navalny to be protected. And considering what we know, what happened in August last year with so-called poisoning of Alexei Navalny, it is very much likely that actually Navalny left the prison, and we actually suspected that is what happened during this May non-working days, that he left the prison and he maybe even went abroad because he can enjoy such support and financial support from his, how to speak, friends or whoever they are. And all this, scandal, which is widely discussed, that Alexei Navalny, he's being prosecuted and followed by a Federal Security Service, and they're trying to kill him and all that. We informed Federal Security Service about our suspicions, and we asked them to conduct a check and to let the public know whether Alexei Navalny is in prison right now or not, because all this leakage of information stopped for some reason. And we haven't received any kind of video from security cameras or something from May the 1st till May the 11th. And what we found out, as usual, that actually Federal Security Service doesn't want to conduct any check, doesn't even want to collect information from us the way this service is supposed to be doing. So we actually only get more and more sure that what is really happening is Federal Security Service is being covering Alexei Navalny with his, leaving the prison or enjoying some kind of specific conditions, some VIP service there, or even going abroad for this time. And we are kind of taking steps to make Federal Security Service legal steps only within the Constitution and the law of the Russian Federation, to make the prosecutor's office check the activity of Federal Security Service, and to make Federal Security Service conduct the check and publish the information whether Alexei Navalny is in prison right now, because we actually do think that he's not there. And he's not likely to be back there, but maybe he will be back there. We just don't know. But we want this information to be publicly announced, and it's it's like no job. It can be done in no time. It's like 2 minutes time to conduct this check, but they do not want to do this. The other important thing which is happening now, which is being widely discussed in Russia, is the coming elections to the state parliament, and the situation with new candidates, new parties, new approaches, and all that. There has been some, dream. Like people have been dreaming that probably the situation will change, and these four parties, we've discussed our political structure from the point of view of public policy, politics of those people who conduct as political parties, politicians. So we've been discussing this in our previous videos. So all these four parties, which are now called like parliament parties, who have their representatives in the parliaments of Russia, there has been some kind of dream that the situation will change. They will go away, and some new parties will come and will occupy the parliament. So the situation will change, and the politics, the policy will be like slightly different. It doesn't seem this way right now. Though the elections haven't been announced yet, they are supposed to be announced by the president of Russia, like about from 90 to 100 days before the date of the election. The president publishes his order saying that he announces the elections and sets the dates, and then this election process begins. The elections haven't been announced yet. They are likely to be announced in the beginning of June, and the date of the elections is likely to be announced to be the September the 19th. But things may change. This is Russia. So it's not likely that the situation will change. We are likely to be still enjoying this company of those four parliament parties, but they are trying to change themselves from inside. They are attracting new people, new faces, new ideas, no new ideas, just new faces, which seems to be rather crazy and demonic, because we can see people who come from sphere like showbiz or actors or even military criminals. One of the state parties, the party called Справедливая Россия, or like Fair Russia, united itself with another party called За правду, for truth. And the Party for Truth is led by Zakhar Prilepin. His real name is Evgeny Lavlinsky, and he has been what's the word for this? Like, he has been acting as not as a military officer of Russia, but rather kind of an assassin on the territory of Ukraine, on territory of DNR and LNR, on this Donbass activity. And he himself, actually, Zakhar Prilepin, he himself has been speaking about his activity there as like he said that they were one of the cruelest brigades there. And they were like, they've committed so many awful things that he doesn't know how he will be replying and responding for this, because things are really great what he's been doing there. And he's one of the persons who is actually aiming at parliament right now, which seems rather scary, considering the fact that he's been real kind of person in war there, taking part in this military activities. And these are like not military activities, not proper military activities, because they were not officially sanctioned by the Russian Federation. He wasn't serving like a officer for the Russian Ministry for Defense or for Russian Army. He was even really like an assassin or somebody like this, or no, mercenary. This is called mercenary, I guess. Like, he's a paid person who are going to war from some side, and he has people from there. His how should I call them? His friends, his just members of this brigade, and they are members of this party aiming at parliament right now. Another party, which is Единая Россия, the leading party, which actually this party represents the administration itself, the bureaucracy of Russia, all the bureaucrats of Russia. They do take part in this. They are members of this party. They also attract new people, and there's people like singers or like actors or somebody else, which seems, it's not just strange, but it has nothing to do with politics. It has nothing to do with protection of human rights, with protecting interests of Russia and really implementing the politics to make life of the Russian citizens prosperous. And there's right now there's such activity going on, but there is a problem, really a problem, which makes this process close to anti-constitutional. The problem is that according to the constitution, any person has a right to become a candidate, to start to be elected, and he doesn't need to be a member of the party, to have some kind of money, so some amount of money or something else. Any person who is not restricted according to law has the right to become a candidate to the position of a deputy of the parliament. But at this moment, we have the situation in Russia when if you do not have enough connections, if you don't have party support, if you do not have enough money, if you do not have enough political background, you actually have no way of becoming a candidate. It's just impossible. And this makes this process of elections anti-constitutional. We know this because personally we took part in the elections last year, not last year, in 2017 and last year as well. And we've been through all these processes, like from getting this support of the voters to the final elections themselves, the voting process, counting in votes, and getting all these reports done and all that. And we do understand this is totally impossible for a person, no matter how much support this person has, just because it physically is impossible to become a candidate, just impossible to collect a needed number of signatures. So we've applied a claim to the Central Election Committee, because this committee is in charge of this election process, and one of the documents which the election committee is functioning according to is the Constitution, and the election committee, the Central Election Committee of the Russian Federation, is supposed to actually protect the rights of the citizens, the political and the electoral rights of the citizens. So we applied a claim to this Central Election Committee with a demand that they should act according to the Constitution and to their own documents, which regulate their activity, and to make steps to introduce amendments to the current law or electoral law, or even this number of electoral laws, to make this process feasible for a person, for not a member of a party, but for a person. Otherwise, this is a violation of the Constitution. It makes these elections illegitimate. We are now awaiting for the response of the Central Election Committee in case it doesn't act according to the Constitution, because what we demand is not, something for our personal use. We are not demanding them to provide some sort of opportunity for us personally, or not for other people. We demand them to make this election system to make it, the function according to the Constitution, so that it's really use the existing technology, use the achievements of the digital era we are living in, to make the Constitution really what is really what's supposed to be the main law, according to which all the other systems of the states function. So in case Central Election Committee doesn't do that, we will be applying claim to court and challenging this passive position of the election committee, and thus proving that the elections right now are anti-constitutional. We don't know how much of these elections mean for this current regime, because it actually has been announced by Putin last year that Russia is starting this process of changing the constitution. They've introduced some amendments to the Constitution last year, and we are totally not happy with them. But the fact is that they want more. They want to change the Constitution in general. They want to change the basics of the Constitution, because the basic idea of the Constitution of the Russian Federation is that the nation is the source of law, and that the people have the right to execute the power either directly or via the state organs of the state. And they do not want us to be able to have this possibility to execute the power directly. And Putin has been speaking about this, not just like directly and openly, but rather like in some evasive manner. But he's already said that what they want to do is that to make us not the citizens and as the source of power and the sovereign, but to make us like some first step power, which is then collected by some other organization and then only introduced and realized and executed. And that is what we are not happy about, because this contradicts the Universal Declaration of Human Rights and the International Pact on International Covenant on Political and Civil Rights. We do not want this to happen, and we will be opposing this, taking legal steps as we usually do in Politics 2.0. So this process started last year. They've introduced a number of changes. They call this one amendment, but it's actually about 200 different changes they introduced. And there have been talks last year that this is only the beginning, that they will be reforming the constitution, they will be introducing new amendments, and this discussion, this public discussion, has started right now, not by the president himself, not by the prime minister or Medvedev or somebody else, but it started by those so-called analytics agencies or some kind of think tanks. We know that since it gets into the public sphere, it gets into the media, and the discussion it means that actually this discussion is sanctioned by the administration of the president. No information, no political information regarding the constitutional state of Russia can be allowed to be discussed openly in the media or by those think tanks and by those experts and political analysts. So thus we know that this discussion is like on the agenda. And we know that what they want, this crazy Duma for, with all those singers, with those mercenaries, and all those strange people that they want to get there, they want this Duma to support the changes of the change of the constitution, to make to take away the power that the basic democratic idea which lies beneath the constitution, this basic idea, and to take the power away from us. That's something we're going to be strongly opposing to, and we will be fighting for our freedom, and this is our position. And we are taking only legal steps. We act within the what constitution allows us to do within these legal fields only, but we will be ready to escalate the case to international organizations, because we will not allow anybody to take our political rights away from us. This is our country, this is our will. We are free citizens. We haven't delegated our power to the president during the elections. We are not going to be delegating our power during these elections, parliamentary elections in September. So we will be protecting our rights and protecting our freedom, protecting our state of free, sovereign citizens of the Russian Federation. So that's what they need. And actually, another thing which is happening in the political field is the beginning of the discussion who will be the next president. In fact, it's been widely discussed last year during the changes, the introduction of the amendments of the to the constitution, that Putin wants to stay forever. Like, he's the one to stay forever, and what he's doing things to remain the president until the very end, or he's like going to live forever. That's not actually true. He wants to leave. He doesn't want to be a president anymore. He's tired. He wants to enjoy life. And the discussion of who will be the next president is going on right now, and it's likely that we will also be seeing candidates, and they are being discussed already, far from what we expect a politician or a president to be. And the people who they are starting to introduce are people from show business or former journalists. Especially, there is a journalist called Yulia Stadnichuk, and we've already discussed this a lot in our Russian language streams, that he is likely to be really to be promoted as the next president. What we know about him, I'm not sure if if YouTube will block this video or not for this. But we know that he's a faggot, and that's how we call such people. He's a faggot. We know that his videos, his interviews that he's doing, they are really not good professional interviews, but rather asking about, sexual preferences and how many money a person is ready to spend on some T-shirt or something. And that is the level of a person they want to make the president of the Russian Federation. And it's really likely that this person will be promoted. We cannot be 100% sure because we, as I've already mentioned, we do not have access to some kind of secret materials. But we know from observing the situation, from reasoning, from judgments we've made before, analyzing the information we have, this is very, highly likely that this is the person that will be promoted for this position. And, things are happening quite, this time periods like, pressed into some very, it seems like too many things are happening within a very short period of times. And probably 10 years ago, it would take a year to make things change that much. And now it takes about a week to change the situation completely. So it's not long before we see those candidates announced, I guess. But I guess the most important thing right now is the elections of Duma. And that is, they need this Duma for to make these constitutional changes and to make a kind of the situation ready for such a person as Yuri Dud to become a real candidate for the position of president of the Russian Federation. Considering the fact that no normal person has a possibility to become a candidate, because this is simply impossible, physically impossible to do. The conditions to do what they want a person to do to become a candidate, no matter how much support you get from the citizens, no matter how close your ideas to the citizens are. And you will not get access to the television unless you're a candidate. So speaking about the most, I guess, important and most common thing for the world right now is this COVID raging that we have. We have a kind of, dubious situation because at one hand we have this election campaign coming, which means that people are supposed to be allowed to meet together, to meet and greet the candidates, to discuss things with candidates, to leave their signatures and all that, and visit the polling stations. And at the other hand, we have this rising of COVID numbers, so-called, and this third wave, or some other thing is coming here with all these restrictions being stricter right now. So people, we know that there is a kind of PR campaign positioning Russia as the place of freedom, without masks and things allowed and everything is functioning. This is on the one hand, this is kind of true. That really, yes, people are very relaxed about mask as considered as compared to some other countries we know about. But on the other hand, we see now things are getting stricter, and we've heard about some kind of network retail shops, product retail, starting refusing clients without masks, and new number of inspectors are visiting, underground and not allowing people to go to metro, to underground, subway, and finding their, writing out protocols and finding them for not wearing masks and gloves. So we don't know how things will turn out combining these two things, because people need to conduct this campaign. But that's how it is. And Putin announced his plans on vaccination, which sound really, really, horrifying, because they want like 60% of the population to be vaccinated by autumn. And it seems like most Russians are, not eager to vaccinate. They do not want to take this vaccine. This has quite a number of reasons, but they've started this thing. They started imposing vaccination. They started discussions about making vaccinations mandatory, and in some places we know they start making employees, kind of especially in the state-owned companies or in state organizations, they try to somehow force employees to take this vaccine. But we've heard about such, strange things when a doctor tells a person that he's ready to sign out some kind of a document proving that the person has been vaccinated without actually giving this vaccine, just to get the signature and the agreement of the person to get vaccinated. Just the signature is enough. You get this paper, but you don't get the vaccine. We've heard about such things happening. So it seems like what they want the people actually to sign some documents. We know that in some countries it's being discussed that there's a need for a third shot of the vaccine, and then there is a discussion of making this vaccine annual. Like you will have to make an annual shot of this vaccine. We've heard about these discussions in Russia, like the third vaccine, maybe a third shot may be necessary. We haven't heard about actually annual vaccination yet. But considering the fact that we go pretty much along with the international trends, it's likely that we will hear this within a couple of weeks as well. So that's how things are in Russia. So here is our English language channel. Please, if you have any questions about how things are in Russia, probably about our life, or from the political point of view, there are a lot of video YouTube channels speaking about how life is in Russia. But we are speaking about life from the political point of view, from the point of view of responsible citizens, law-abiding citizens, who are really concerned about what is going on with our country. We do take our country really seriously. We do understand that we do not have anything without our country. Our rights, our freedoms are protected by our state. And we are free citizens. We are sovereign citizens. We do use this term sovereign citizens to stress the fact that we haven't delegated our authority to the presidents, to Duma, to all these elected officials, because as according to the Constitution, we being parts of the nation, we are sources of power. And we have this power. We do not want to delegate it. But we do not want our state to function. We do not want to save our state, our country. We want it to be prosperous. We want to live within our state. We are citizens of our country. We do not want to change anything. We do not need citizenship of any other country. We do not want to lose citizenship of our country. We want to be respected. We want to be responsible citizens of our country, and we do want to take part in the conduct of public affairs in our country, because being the sources of power and understanding how things are going on, we see that actually the current regime is violating the Constitution. And it's by violating the Constitution, it's violating our rights and it's destroying our lives and the land, the territory for us to live and for our children to live. And we want to protect this. Excuse me. We only act according to the Constitution and to the law. We are sharing our experience here about our steps. We do go to courts. We do understand how courts are functioning, really, but we do go to court. We explain our activities and we explain what we do. We have quite a lot of videos, and I'll put the link down below in this comment section so that you could go and see our other English language videos. In case you have any questions about how things are or our experience, please don't hesitate to ask us. And we'll be streaming regularly here with updates of the situation and on our activities. And as well, we'll be streaming from some places where we can probably be, just in case from courts or from, in case something happens outside. We usually stream from outside to show how we act, what we do, and how things develop. And actually, this streaming, if you start streaming from a place, if you start capturing policemen and their activity, your own activity, you get very good evidence for court, proving that you were you kept to the legal side and the violations wasn't on your side. And we know from our experience that if you start streaming, for example, from a polling station, it actually makes everybody really calm down and stick to the law. And that's what we need. We need everybody to stick to the law. and that's how it works for us. So we'll be sharing our experience, and please let me remind that we've, as the public movements, as the concept, we've grown from a live book of Father Athanasius. We know that it's written in Russian, but actually you can translate a lot of this and get a lot of information how things have been developing in Russia up till now, and to get some understanding of what we base our judgment on. So thank you for your attention. Please don't hesitate to ask questions if you have some, and we'll see you soon here on this channel. Thank you and goodbye.